Guys, in today's video, you are going to learn how to do a perfect first coat of mud on your drywall joints. We're talking about seams and butt joints, both. We're doing it by hand. Most of you don't have the taping tools, and that's fine. I'm a journeyman drywall finisher my whole life. Promise to teach you to do it right. Let's get started. Let's take a quick look at what we're working with. We're going to do a ceiling, okay? Brand new sheetrock, seams, butt joints. Seams are when you have factory edge to factory edge, okay? Your long joints, those are your seams. Butt joints is where two cut pieces of sheetrock butt up against each other. That's why we call them a butt joint, okay? All right, we're gonna tackle the butt joints first, okay? Because those are the ones that require some attention. You need to check them. You need to put the proper amount of mud on them. You need to make them right. You need to do those first, because once those are done, then your seams are gonna be easy to just blend in with those, okay? We're going to use a 12-inch knife. Okay, so I got the mud on my knife. That's about how much mud I have on my knife. Note the thickness of the mud needs to be thick so it's not running off your knife while you're working. There's a glob at the end of the knife looking like it wants to drip off. That's why you always go like this. As soon as you put the mud on your knife, you always go like that. Do it with both sides to get that extra drip off there. That way it's not dripping everywhere, okay? We have a light to work around. That's all right. We just kind of go like that. Get that mud all the way up to the edge. Okay. All the way into that angle. Hold it there for just a second so that mud will squish and get all the way into that angle so then you won't have any hollow spot. Okay. Now I'm going to run my knife over the whole thing just to flatten it out and smooth it out and kind of cutting off these fat edges too. Okay. Cutting off the fat edge there, kind of blending it in. I'm just going to keep that mud on my knife and keep going like this. By doing this, I'm getting rid of all those lumps and waves, so the whole thing is just perfectly flat and smooth, okay? Kind of getting rid of that. Okay, now it already looks really good. It's flat, it's smooth, no waves, no lumps. That's good, okay? Now, cut off that fat edge totally, okay? I'm gonna go like that just to get a little bit of mud on my knife, so that I can then go all the way into the angle. Okay. One more, get this fat edge off. Put that fat edge all the way off of there. I can see there's a little excess mud, so I'm gonna take off a little bit of that excess mud off of there. I don't want to build it up. You want only how much mud you need and not more, okay? If you can vaguely see that tape, just vaguely, that's good. That's what you want. You don't want it to bleed through, but if you can just vaguely see it through the mud, that lets you know that you have the perfect amount of mud on there. Not too much. If you leave too much, then when the daylight shines on the ceiling, you'll still see a hump. Okay. So, looking good. That side had maybe just a bit more mud on it than I wanted to, so I gave it just one more swipe. We're good now. And now your seam here, okay? I'm gonna cut off that excess mud and do one more swipe. So maybe just one more. There. Now by doing that and pulling it this way, it makes this area flat, so it's gonna be covering that seam good. That's what you want. So before you leave, give it one of those because your seam is there, and that will make it right. For those of you that are new at this, with whatever knife that you're using, you should be able to look down the blade of that knife, and there should just be a tiny bit of a bow. You don't want it to be perfectly flat and perfectly straight. There should be just a little bit of a bow. I'll exaggerate it. But if I go like that, okay, and you look down, then you can see there's a bow on the knife, obviously, right? That's exaggerated, but you want to be able to see just a tiny bit of a bow, okay? So right now, it's kind of going like that as I look down. And that's why I want that side touching the ceiling, okay? So it's kind of like that against the ceiling. That's what you want. If I did it the other way, you'd see a bunch of lines from the edge of your knife making harsh lines in your coat of mud when you try to do your wipe down. Boom. Come all the way into the angle on this side. Come out. The consistency on this mud is perfect. It's not running off the knife. It's not dripping off the knife at all. It's staying right there exactly where it's supposed to be. I can hold it there all this time. It's still not running. That's what you want. If it was starting to drip off that knife, that'd be too thin. It'd be dripping everywhere. It'd be getting on the floor. It'd be getting on me. Okay. Now, cut off that big fat edge on both sides and the front. Now I'm just going to run my knife across the whole thing just to make sure everything is flat, smooth. The lumps and the waves are smoothed out. Okay, I'm not dipping my knife in my pan. I'm just making my way across, just to lay everything down nice and perfectly smooth and flat. Okay, now I'm just going to lightly take off a little more mud. This will be the final wipe down here. Stop there because we got a light, and then I'm going to come at it from this way. Okay, done. Little lap mark, a little heavy mud there. Do a half circle to get that off. Okay. One more final wipe down, pushing a little harder. Nice. Okay. Now we have our seam here. I'm going to take that unnecessary mud off there and do one more final wipe down. A slight bit of a lap mark there, but it's right on the seam, and that's going to cover after the second coat. That's going to be fine. So all we have is one tiny little lap mark right here coming down the middle. So super easy to sand. Nothing to sand except for that one teeny tiny little lap mark. In fact, it looks so good when it's time to do the second coat. I can really just skim coat right over this whole thing. That's why you want to stick with me, man, right? Making your life easier. You do it the way I teach you, it's going to look so good. You don't even need to sand the first coat. You can turn around and skim coat right over it. Anyway, before we keep going, let me give you a quick reminder. Please help me grow my channel. It means a lot. A little bit of money that I make from this channel is a big help, especially during the winter months when the phone's not ringing as much and we're kind of making just enough money to get by from month to month. The little bit of money that I make from the YouTube channel is really helpful and takes a weight off my shoulders. So let's do a couple more from a different angle so you can see it from a different angle. Middle part's still a little bit hollow, so I'm just going to slap some mud on it, give it one of these. Okay. I'm not worried about it being perfect right now. I just want to get the amount of mud over a wide area that I want. All right. Let's take off the fat edge all the way around. Take off that edge. Run my knife across it. I'm going to apply medium pressure just to kind of flatten it out, lay it down, get rid of the waves and lumps. Okay, I don't need to dip my knife to do that. I can just do 3 swipes in a row like that. And now, looks good. A little bit more mud on there than I really need. So one more swipe just to take off a little more mud. Now I know it's good. Oh, got a big old chunk. Picked up a chunk of mud from that light. Happens. It's going to happen. Okay, now this whole side looks 100% perfect. One tiny lap mark right there. Do this side. Again, slight fat edge there, but now it's gone. Now the only thing we have left there is one tiny lap mark right there, super tiny. So easy to brush that off with your sanding pole when it's time and do your second coat, but it looks so good. You can really, right now you could skim over this once it's dry. You could just do the skim coat right over the top of that. Once in a while, if you see some chunks, some cooties, give it one of those real quick so you don't get chunks in your mud. Okay. Just laying it down, getting rid of the waves, lumps, making it so it's a perfectly consistent, even coat across the whole area. Okay. Getting rid of that big fat edge all the way around. Getting that fat edge out of there. There's still a little more mud than I really need. I know that. I'm going to take a little bit more off. Okay. Now, do the final. Done. Actually, one more. There. Now, I just know from experience, and I can see by looking at it how much mud, how thick of a layer of mud is on there. And so, there. We're good. That's perfect. Okay, guys, we just did 4 butt joints in a row. You got to watch. I commentated. Hope you learned something. I hope you're feeling like now when you go to coat a butt joint, you kind of know what to do, and you learned a few things that are going to make your life a little easier. Now let's do a few seams, okay, because they all go together. Now on a seam, you don't need a 12-inch knife, okay? All you're doing is filling the hollow spot. On the seams, that's all you're doing. You're not leaving a coat of mud over tape, okay? If I go like this, my knife doesn't even touch the tape, okay? It's hollow. If I face the window or wherever the light is coming from, I stick my knife up like this, I can see daylight showing right in here because this section is hollow. We're not worrying about putting a coat of mud over the tape. We just want to fill the void, that hollow spot. That's all we're doing. So that's pretty easy. So if I put mud on here and then I pull it tight, so there's no mud here, no mud here, it'll leave mud in this hollow spot and then it will basically be perfectly flat. So it's much easier. So putting a coat of mud on the seams is much easier than the butt joints. So let's knock a couple of them out. Like I said, 10-inch knife is all you need for these. Don't need a 12-inch knife. That's overkill. This area that's hollow, it's like less than 6 inches. Okay. You got about 2.5 on each side. You're talking about 5. Okay. Now on here, I'm going to go right about to there. Okay. Now, kill those fat edges. What I like to do is kind of hold the knife down low on the handle. You see I'm holding my knife right there and put it up here so it's basically flat against the ceiling. I'm not pushing, but I don't have my knife down flat like that. I have it more up like this. And then I'm just going to lightly go like this. Okay, now that takes all the excess mud off of the wall and the middle part is full. So that makes it basically perfectly flat. Got a hollow spot there. Okay. So at this point, there's basically no mud here, no mud on this side. The middle part is full, basically perfectly flat. So you can hold your knife down low on the handle. Don't hold it like that. Kind of hold it up like this, and you can lightly do that. And it will pull all that excess mud off, and it'll leave that hollow spot full, and it'll just make it perfectly flat. And then you do one more light wipe down, just to wipe down those little imperfections, little lap marks to make it perfect. Okay. Bam. Bam, done. Boom. That's all I need to do. Cut off that fat edge. Okay. Now this is where the half circle motion really comes in. Okay. I'm going to have my left side of my knife touching the ceiling. The right side of my knife's not even touching. Okay. That way I can go like this. Cut off all that excess mud in the line, but I'm not taking mud off the middle part. Okay. So now it's clean on the outside, looking good. Now I'm going to call that done and call that done. I did leave a kind of a bigger line than I wanted to, so I'll do another little half circle there. Okay, boom, okay, done. Tiny line there, a couple tiny lap marks there, but as long as they're small, you're not leaving excess mud on, it's fine. Skim coat is going to cover all that. It's going to be perfect. Don't worry about the tiny imperfections. Okay, you got one more. Okay. Perfect. Half circle to pull off that fat edge. Another half circle. Pull off that fat edge. I'm going to lightly pull off some of that mud because there was too much. Now it's just right. Now we're going to lightly go over it just to lay it down all flat, get rid of any little imperfections. Done. I'm going to do a half circle coming from both ways. Same on this one. That way I blend this fat edge and this part into that, and when I come at it from that way, I'm blending it into that butt joint that we just did. Okay. I can see it's a little hollow there, so I want to get a little bit mud over there. Same on this side. I left it a little too hollow on this spot right there. Now we're good. Now I'm going to lightly go across it because there's a little more mud on there than I want. Okay, now it's good. Now, bam, done. Little fat edge right there. Okay, done. Just like that. Alrighty then, anyways, I'm spending a lot of time making these videos and not a lot of time getting this job done. I still got to get a coat of mud on this whole thing. 3 bedrooms, a hallway, a bathroom. So I got to get my ass in gear. So we're going to call it done. So please subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss the future videos. And thank you. If you're still here watching, thank you. I appreciate it. Please help me grow my channel. It means a lot. I work hard. These videos are pretty time consuming, and a little bit of money that I make from YouTube is a big help. It takes a weight off of my shoulders. So thank you. We'll see you on the next one.